Have you read IRS publication 590-B? No, no one reads this stuff. You should. This is going to impact you. Okay, you don't have to read it. I'll explain what it is. That and more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Cohorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. So, very interesting development out of the IRS last week. Don't they have bigger stuff going on, i.e. tax season, sending you your refunds? You know how many people are waiting on their refunds right now? It seemed like before the American Rescue Plan Act, which was the last stimulus that was passed, seems like the IRS was just sending out refunds left and right, so easy, and then all of a sudden next stimulus passed, and the IRS can't send out stimulus or refunds. What a mess. And yet somehow last week, they released a publication, a publication 590-B, which is their interpretation of an old rule, a rule change that is old. Well, it started in 1/1 of 2020 about the Secure Act in the 10-year rule on how you handle withdrawals from an inherited IRA account. Wow, I mean, don't they have bigger fish to fry? But listen, despite all of that, this is a big fish. We got to talk about this. You need to be aware of it, let me tell you. The Secure Act was signed into law in late December 2019, and it went into effect 1/1 of 2020. Seems like an eternity ago. Guys, this was an enormous tax law change, tax law overhaul. Specifically, it made a change to something called the Stretch IRA. And I'm not talking about a special type of IRA. What the Stretch IRA is if you inherited a retirement account, a 401k, an IRA, from someone that wasn't your spouse. So think of from a parent, okay? That's the most likely scenario. You inherit your mom or your dad's IRA. You could withdraw all of it if you wanted to immediately, and then you'd have to include all of it on your tax return. So it's taxable. All those withdrawals that come out of inherited pre-tax accounts, they're taxable. So you could draw it all out. Well, what if you said, I don't want to pay all that tax, and listen, I don't really need the money, I'm grieving or whatever. The IRS used to say, well, you got to take a little bit out. And they would create a required minimum distribution that you'd have to take out of that inherited IRA each and every year for the rest of your life. Again, you could always take out more, but you'd have to pay more tax. So you've got to take out at least a little bit each and every year over your life. And even though so the Secure Act, that's how it used to work. The Secure Act changed that, okay? But it changed it moving forward. So I want to make one thing clear. If you have an inherited IRA from a non-spouse that they passed before 1/1 of 2020, rules don't change. If you've already been doing the Stretch IRA, if you've already inherited an IRA from someone that died before January 1st of 2020, rules don't change for you, okay? But the Secure Act did put new rules in place for people that have died after 1/1 of 2020, and for you when you inherit an IRA or a pre-tax account from them. The new rule is the 10-year rule, okay? The 10-year rule means, listen, you've just got to empty, I don't care what you take out, you've just got to have the account emptied completely within 10 years. And so everyone's interpretation of that, based on reading the text from Congress, based on reading different CPAs and big publications, everyone's interpretation was, well, you don't have to, there's no longer a required minimum distribution for accounts that you inherit, pre-tax accounts you inherit from non-spouses. Now there's just a 10-year rule. So maybe you should take money out each and every year, but you don't need to. You just got to take it all out within 10 years. So therefore, let's take, for example, you're working for 5 more years. You inherited an account from mom, okay, and you're working for 5 more years, so you're making money and you're in a high tax bracket. But you know after that, in year 6, you're retiring, and your income's gonna go way down. So based on the previous understanding of the 10-year rule, you don't need to take anything from this IRA. You retire, your income goes to nothing. Year 6, you start taking money out, and you just have to have the account emptied within 10 years. Great tax planning, great proactive tax planning there. Yeah, but that was based on our interpretation, but not just ours at Wise Money. Ours as in the community, the financial services world, the CPA Society, everyone understood Congress's proposal, Congress's law within the Secure Act, their language, that's what it means. IRS released publication 590B last week and said, hold your horses. This is how we interpret that. How we interpret it, there's still a required amount that you need to take out every single year. And the account needs to be emptied within 10 years. Big difference. Instead of having full control over when you withdraw money, except that, I just need to get the account to zero within 10 years. Now the IRS says you don't get the best of both worlds. Yeah, you have to take a little bit out every single year at least, and the account needs to be emptied by 10 years. That's what the IRS's interpretation is. Who's going to win? Everyone else's interpretation, or Congress's interpretation, or the IRS's? Well, from here, our understanding is, this is not official yet, from here it goes to review. The IRS has said, this is how we read it, and it goes to review. And it's very possible Congress comes out and says, what are you talking about, IRS? No. And Congress passes some legislation that says, no, we're clarifying our language. This is how we want it to work. That's possible. It's not probable, in my opinion, because guess what? Legislatures or Congress, they need taxable income. And so the whole reason they changed this from a stretch IRA to a 10-year rule is you got to hustle and take this money out faster, meaning you got to report this as income faster so we can get some taxable income. Therefore, my guess is the IRS's interpretation of this is going to stand. It's not official yet. My guess is it will stand. So what should you be doing about it? Two things. Number one, if you currently have inherited an IRA from a non-spouse, either from the old rules or someone that passed away after 1/1 of 2020, you got to work with your certified financial planner. Make sure you're doing tax planning, because even under the old rules, with the stretch IRA rules, does it make sense to continue stretching those? Or are we about to head into a time period where we're going to see higher tax rates and therefore you should take out more than the minimum right now? And then second, those of you that inherited an account from someone who passed after 1/1 of 2020, now you got to talk about, well, what should I do with this? Do I wait till the IRS gets approval on their interpretation, or what sort of planning should I be doing? Okay, so that's one. If you have already received or stand in line to receive an inheritance from a non-spouse and their IRA, work with your certified financial planner. But second, those of you that maybe aren't focused on that or haven't received an inheritance, you're actually building up your financial war chest. You've got to be thinking of this rule as you decide what tax shelters to be funding with your own savings. Because hopefully you're saving up enough that you don't have a financial worry in the future. And what that means is, if something happens, you pass away too early, something like that, some other people in your family could inherit these dollars and be subject to these rules. Therefore, should you be doing more Roth IRAs? Should you do Roth conversions? Should you consider other financial instruments to help your family keep this wealth that you've been building up for them? Once again, work with your certified financial planner. If you don't have a CFP on your team, contact one on my team. We'd love to help, okay? Your financial advisor should be offering clarity, confidence, and creativity. These sorts of ideas to help you plan ahead, pay the least amount of tax over your lifetime. We'd love to serve you. Reach out to us. You can find us online, korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with a K. wisemoneyshow.com. Find us there as well, or send us an email, info@korhorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.